What's good, everybody? It's your girl Ericka from the Classy Climb blog. We're in the big Jeep today. We are gonna break it up and chop up about marijuana stocks. Many people are like, Ericka, it's 420 and you're talking about marijuana. Here's the thing. Many people are like, Trump's the worst. You know, he's just the worst dude ever. He's the worst president ever. Well, what people don't realize is Trump doesn't drink. He is a non-drinker, non-drug user. Why? Because his brother and his family basically drunk himself to death. And many people should know this story. If you're in New York, you know about Trump's brother drinking himself to death, essentially. Family had a lot of money, and, you know, that's what happens sometimes, sadly, with second generation wealth, is some of the kids aren't mentally as strong as the first. So here's the deal. Why is this going to happen? Because what people are not paying attention to is the midterms are coming, and many people are like, oh, you know, Republicans are going to sweep the House. They're going to control everything forever. That is not true. Now, why is that not true? Why is that not true? Because the lean is, we're angry with Trump. We're going to come out and we're going to vote. This is the same thing happened with Barack Obama. There was a big push of everybody loves Barack Obama. And there was an underlying group of people, aka the Tea Party, who were like, this is crap. I want him out of here. We're getting rid of him. So then you had the midterms. And of course, you had all these Tea Party people come in. You had a lot of different people come in. Now, what is happening here with Trump? Same effect. People in the base, which I call the base, is the Democratic Party base. People who are, you know, more liberal. People are like, this is crazy. I'm so mad at Trump. So how can they effectively be mad at Trump? Is vote. And vote in their local elections. Now, what does that mean? It means what they're going to do is they're going to vote in a lot of candidates who are what we call the guy who just won in Pennsylvania. Veteran, military veteran, liberal. Now, he can't be too liberal, so what can he be liberal on? Okay, well, I love guns. I'm not going to mess with your guns. Your guns are safe. Okay, he gives you that. Then he all of a sudden, he's like, we're going to make sure everybody gets the health care and access to care that they deserve. Now, what does that mean when you break it down? Trump would just absolutely love to be seen as a president who solved some major problem. What is a major problem? Opiates. Now, this is the big connector. Many people are not putting this together. Jeff Sessions is serious. Jeff Sessions is old school. Lock them up. Lock them all up. But that's not where America is right now. Americans are like, that's my Becky. That's my Jenny that's on heroin. Don't lock up Becky. If you guys go research this for yourself, in the marijuana course, we'll have all the stocks that we were talking about and ways to get into startups, how to make money with cannabis oils, all kind of stuff. Just layers and layers to this. I've been studying this for a few months, and I've been in some groups, and I just hadn't been able to put it all together. So what's happening is, what is a replacement for this crazy epidemic? Medical marijuana. Why am I telling you this? Because Colorado's financial boom has made them some kind of mini Silicon Valley of weed in the Midwest. And people think I'm being dramatic, but the number of flights, the number of planes, the cost of living has not only doubled, in some places it's tripled. This is a real deal Holyfield thing that's happening, and people are not paying attention. Now, what is happening when other states try to approve marijuana? The bill was funky. People didn't like the bill. Now, why did people not like the bill? The bill basically had major name people. Sorry about that. I am driving. Major name people controlling everything. They had big companies controlling everything. It wasn't going to be mom and pop weed shops. It was going to be big pharmaceutical companies controlling everything. People didn't like those bills, so when the bills came up during the election, they were voted down. Now, as people have worked through the woodworks, okay, we'll let a few other people in. But do you really think all these lobbyists are spending millions, if not billions of dollars lobbying for medical marijuana if they don't think it's going to make a ton of money? They know this is, companies want to get off pills. They want to stop getting doctors prescribing all these pills to people. What is a supplement? What replaces that? Medical marijuana. What is something a lot of people are going to transition to? Pills are bad. Heroin's dangerous. Medical marijuana. Y'all think I'm playing, but I promise you, I've sat in classes with all white people who are like, how can I take my retirement money and put it in medical marijuana? There are 20 states currently as I speak. 20 states all doing different marijuana laws, trying to get a big turnover in their state. This is why Jeff Sessions will lose. Jeff Sessions is old school, lock their ass up. Now, he may keep Mississippi, Alabama, parts of Florida. He may keep some of these states in lock and step with his goal. Locking them up because why? Prisons have been full of people who were in nonviolent crimes. And so when people are like, this is wrong. And guess what happened the past 3 years? Black women going to jail has dropped 50%. White women going to prison has increased 50%. Why? Drugs, pills, heroin, prostitution, everything that is in connection with drugs. Now, what did Jeff Sessions say? Everybody was paying attention. You better be paying attention. Jeff Sessions said, if you're selling drugs, I want to make sure you go to prison for life. I want to make sure you go to prison for life. Now, why is he saying that? Who is going to be the people affected from selling drugs? Just being honest. Who's going to, your local white guy, your local this and that. But if you've paid attention to some of the things I've posted on this channel, there are several white guys who are getting treatment. They're getting drug rehab treatment for selling drugs. They're selling tons of bricks of marijuana. They're selling all kind of stuff, but they're getting medical treatment. See what I'm saying? Now, Jeff Sessions wants to come in there and go, nah, all across the board, you go to jail for life. End of the day, y'all, money talks, bullshit walks. And we all know that. So what is happening? Jeff Sessions is diehard serious about y'all going to jail for life for selling drugs. So that means, I'm sorry, if you sell marijuana and your uncle or whoever sells marijuana, you going to jail. You straight up going to jail. But if you're someone who somehow can get connected to this industry, if that means you have to move, that means you have to move. If you're that serious about marijuana, move. Hemp products, people who create hemp products. Now, what are hemp products? It's the I guess what you would say, drug version. But I mean, there's so much stuff I want to share with y'all that I got to kind of save it for the course. But at the end of the day, what's happening is people who are on the outside are going to get the shaft. Still going to get the shaft. Sorry, you're still going to get the big shaft. People who are on the inside lap of this will make lots of money. Lots of money. Okay? Hemp serves so many other purposes. It's just like a whole book. You know, the fact that people are complaining about deforestation. And what's that mean? That means when there's too many logging companies, there's too much stuff going on. Hemp can be grown in half the time that trees can be grown. So you're going to see hemp farmers. That's why those northern states, this is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell y'all what I sat in a mastermind. Those northern states that are in the Big 20, like the Vermonts, the Midwest. Why are the Midwest fighting for this? Because they will be the growers. Corn industry is going down. People are scared of sugar. People don't want that crap. They don't want corn sugar. And they've already went and lobbied for corn sugar to be renamed other things. They've done this. Sweetener, natural sweetener. Corn sugar is not a natural sweetener, but that's what they've getting lobbied billions of dollars to change those names. What's the new horizon crop? Hemp. That is why these 20 states in the north mostly, and in some of the south, I'll have a map and everything in the course, they are trying to cash in on this money because they know Trump, if not Trump, but the president behind him, but most likely Trump, will greenlight the way. The course is dropping next week. I'll make sure to do a video the day I drop it. I'm just getting the last stuff in because I literally paid to be a part of a mastermind to be a part of a group of people who are investing in marijuana. That's how serious I was about it. You guys know me on this channel. If I want to know something, I'll go pay and find out about it. And then, you know, if I can, I'll sell it to you guys. I'll break it down and sell it to you however I can. But for real, this is like legit. The open doors are coming for this. And people think I'm being, oh, you're conspiracy theory, Ericka, that's crazy. No, these people are trying to solve a problem in suburbia. I'm just being careful. Suburbia of these people getting hooked on hardcore drugs in suburbia. Now, how do we solve suburbia's problems? Medical marijuana. This is medical marijuana. You know, they need this for their health. Aunt Jenny got hooked on pills, but Aunt Jenny's not going to go to a methadone clinic with the other people. Aunt Jenny's going to just transition from hardcore heroin to medical marijuana. And she you know, if Aunt Jenny gets caught shoplifting, Aunt Jenny has an addiction problem, and we're going to put her in a treatment program, and we're going to give her access to medical marijuana. I am telling y'all this because there has been countless articles leading up to this saying, look at all the children and the epileptics and people with Parkinson. Listen to me. People with Parkinson. Who has Parkinson's? Old people. I'm just saying, old people. Now you got people who have Parkinson's saying, this helped me, this cured me, this. Why are they doing this? They are opening the floodgates so that medical marijuana can be seen as a winner. This is a cure. This is a cure-all. This is going to help so many people having this medical marijuana. And I keep trying to explain to y'all, that's what time it is. That's what's going down, is this medical marijuana and hemp growing in all the farming areas. Now, how do you be a part of that? How do you be a part of that? How do you be a part of that? You invest in agricultural areas that are doing that, are going to need areas to grow hemp. You invest in security companies. Now, what's happening in Colorado? Colorado is hiring ex-military to be the security on these hemp farms and paying them great money. Now, what's happening in Colorado? Colorado, they have to work in cash because the banks, this is why this is all connected, you guys. The reason the banks, why they have to pass medical marijuana in this fashion and get the government into it is because the banks won't take that because it's illegal on a federal level. Okay, so the Colorado, when you go to work in Colorado at one of these weed shops, anybody in Colorado, make note in the comments, you get paid in cash. You get paid in cash, or you get a check that's like a check from you know, PayPal or whatever. It's just weird, but basically you get paid in cash. So there's all 24/7 guards there. There's 24/7 security. There's 24/7 escorting you to your car, and then you, as a person who gets paid, you're gonna do what? You're gonna drive to your bank and put it in your bank. So now how can the bank stop you as an employee taking your money you made from a medical marijuana place and putting it in the bank? They are opening the door so that they can demolish that barrier, because that's millions of dollars that banks are missing out on, and they can't provide loans to a medical marijuana place because that's illegal activity. So where are they getting the money from? Lending clubs, all these different places that are off the books, or business-to-business loans. I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff, but they're not dealing with the banks, and the banks want that money. They want that money. They want that money. Had a girl from our church had to go to Colorado and get the ETF or somebody to come and raid her house. Now, why did she have to do that? Why did she have to do that? Because the people she had living in this giant 2-floor house had the whole garage converted to marijuana. They had holes cut in the ceiling, lights, lamps, and she'd been getting calls for years about, you know, your electricity bills are really high. The electricity company keeps having to come out here and fix things. Something got shorted in your house. We keep seeing vans doing utility work at your house. And she's like, what is happening? Went up there, 3-car garage, not 2, not 1, 3-car garage full of marijuana. And they took all kind of pictures. They came back the next day. All the marijuana was gone. All the people's stuff upstairs was left. So when they realized who she was calling the police, like, they report all this. They came in the middle of the night with U-Haul trucks and took all the marijuana away, left half the equipment, and left all their clothes upstairs. These guys were growing in a house. Now, why is that happening? Because they probably didn't want to go through all the permits and the legal levels to become a grow house the right way in Colorado. And the neighbors had let her know there was guys at all ends of the night walking the perimeter of the house, like walking dogs, walking a pit bull, walking a Doberman Pinscher or something like that. And she was like, that doesn't make any sense. It's a nice couple that rented from me. That was a sham. It was not a couple living there. It was people making a grow house. And so they're even having gang issues in Colorado with grow houses fighting each other. Now, who can handle that? You won't call the police because you don't want your operation shut down. So this is why medical marijuana is going to get the green light. It's causing issues, but it's making billions of dollars. Not only is it making billions of dollars, instead of people along the border states going up to Canada, purchasing up there and coming down, they want to take away from that kind of tourism and keep it in America. The upper northern states that grow corn, and that kind of is going down. Corn as a sweetener replacement is going, like, people are running away from sugar. Parents who are awake and alert and can see little Johnny is fat as hell, or he's having all these heart problems or issues. No, it's the corn sugar. So they're getting away from that. Documentaries about food has getting people away from the steroid cows. So farmers who are in the Midwest and have growing areas, they know they gotta kind of like, we gotta move on to the next cash crop. So there's so much good stuff I want to put in it, but like, ask some questions. But again, I'll have it out next week. I'll let you know the day I drop it. But I mean, I've been sitting in and I've paid a couple $100s. I ain't gonna lie, I paid $1,000 for one of them, to be in there and see what are people doing, how are they joining, how are they finding people to invest, the whole works, right? And the second part of this video is about sometimes you have to put your eggs in one basket and watch the basket. Now, on the last couple videos, you see me guys talking about get your funds up, and the money that rolls over the side, you can invest in other things. And so if you're a person and you live in a state that has not yet approved medical marijuana, move to a state that has, because by the time you get learned on all your new laws in your home state, only the big dogs will be able to invest. Only the big dogs will be investing. Only the big dogs will be opening weed shops and all that stuff. Get ahead of that. Get ahead of that trend. Like, you see vape shops everywhere. People don't want to smoke cigarettes anymore because they're hazardous, but they want to vape because they're addicted. Bishop Blueprint, we're dropping it next week. But it's just like that. Just like trends. You can change trends. You can change people's behavior. Just like Bitcoin came out on the scene, that's how you're going to have medical marijuana. People are going to be like, oh, well, I went to the thing and I got some oil and I feel better and my arthritis is better, Betty. They're going to be at senior folks' homes talking about, Betty, my arthritis is better. I'm telling you guys, pay attention. This is legitimately happening. T. Hill, what do you think will happen first? Recession or Fed marijuana reform? I think our recession is due either December, but what I've been watching on some of the latest things is next September. Now, the reason they're saying next September is because of taxes. Some of the people, when they do their taxes, not this year, but next year, are going to be like, what happened, right? There's going to be some kerfuffles in the marketplace. I truly believe the whole thing with Syria and kind of towns being activated, to be the military to be involved, is going to delay it a little bit. But I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at it. Like, when they start seeing that actual recession is coming, they're going to be like, throw this at it. Oh, we're going to approve marijuana. We're going to approve this. We're going to do all these things. Because Jeff Sessions is out there constantly, like, on this 1980s, lock them up. Lock them up. You're like, dude, calm it down. You know, and that whole law and order. What they don't understand is that law and order is coming for Becky. I already told y'all at the beginning of the video, 50% decrease in black women going to jail and going to prison. 50% increase in white women going to jail, but for different reasons. Pills, heroin, all that stuff. Now, what they're seeing is like, well, Jeff Sessions is like, we need to lock up drug dealers for life. Now, what sense does that make, to lock up somebody for life for a petty crime? Now, I'm not going to say selling drugs is a petty crime. There is a victim crime. It's not a victimless crime. But this is, again, part of the reasons it's pushing. It's part of the reasons it's pushing. Because they're having too many things. Like right now, I went to East Carolina University, and they just broke up a house, and the boys in the house had 2,500 Xanax pills. Already, people are trying to find a way to excuse, oh, well, they're college students, and you know, no, they are drug dealing thugs. 2,500 pills. Where happened to all those Trump supporters? And yes, the boys are white. Where are all those Trump supporters yelling, lock them up? Law and order. Put these people in jail. Because the time is changing. It's little Billy. It's little Becky that is having the drug issue. It's little Billy who's selling the drugs and getting caught. Now, I'll tell you about this. If you guys have been paying attention to John Oliver, he does a whole thing where he'll break down something. Police, when they would search you and seize, the police, when they would go and they would take your money, and they go, well, you got this cash and I don't know where this cash came from. Colorado was one of the first to shut down on that because of medical marijuana, because the marijuana out there. And what happened is several white families, and when I say several, I mean hundreds of white families, had a son or daughter have drugs in the house, selling drugs. They didn't know where the drugs came from, and they seized the houses. Like, they went all the way up. They seized cars, they seized houses, and what's happening is the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So when certain communities, and I'm not just saying white, I'm talking about Asian, I'm talking about all of them, when they get affected by drugs, when they get affected by police seizure, when they get affected by things that have been happening to poor communities, they are now getting the attention of the news like they should have been. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, they're now finally getting the news and getting the attention. So the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So opiates and heroin, we need to give them treatment. The old little Billy is on drugs. I mean, this is turning. And so I think Trump, in order to look like, and what I was saying at the beginning of the video is, the midterm election, you're going to vote in a lot of Democrats who are like the guy from Pennsylvania. I'm a veteran. I don't want to take your gun. I have guns myself. And I'm going to help you in the healthcare industry. Now, they know they can't do much with the healthcare. Healthcare is going to be expensive because of the aging American population. But they can do medical marijuana. Now, why is that so important? Because that's what the Libertarian Party was running on in 2016. You know, they were going hard on that because they know people are against it. And all the stories you're seeing on BuzzFeed and all these articles about this poor kid with this rare genetic disease, he needs marijuana oil, just pour a little oil in his mouth and he can live. They had a veteran on TV they had 5 kids, and the guy, he was on hundreds of pills because the VA will overprescribe everybody. He was on hundreds of pills, and he went to Colorado and he got some oil, cannabis oil, and all his problems went away. Now, I'm not gonna say all the problems, but he got off pills. He completely just threw all the pills away and said, no, VA, I'm not gonna take any more of these pills. Well, his mother-in-law, because she's a crazy bitch, I'll just say that, here in Texas, took him to court. His crazy mother-in-law went, he's a drug addict, and took him to court. And so the people took custody of the kids and gave it to him. And he was like, damn it, bitch. He was moving his whole family to Colorado so he could take the oil in peace. But because the mother-in-law didn't want her grandchildren moved away from her, she went to the court to steal this man's kids. Do you see what I'm saying, y'all? I mean, this is what I'm really trying to get y'all to see. They are going to do this. They're gonna do this. They're gonna put this through because there's too many, I'm not gonna say white people, but I am gonna say white people being affected 5, 10 different 15, 20 ways by this. It's too many. And when the majority starts feeling the effects of one prison, 50% increase of white women going to prison for drugs and prostitution and pills, when they start to things like Florida where they're locking doctors up for selling lots of pills, when you have pharmaceutical companies being sued, when you have farmers in the Midwest begging the laws to be changed so they can grow medical marijuana and hemp, all of a sudden it's like boom. It's like too many things are happening. Trump is going to do this because his base is those people. His base are the farmers. His base are those Midwest farm people who have dead towns. Let's be honest, they have dead towns. There's no jobs, no opportunities. But if they start growing hemp, guess what they need? They need security. So now they're going to hire men in their town to be the security all day long on these hemp farms. They're going to be hiring people. They're going to be hiring locals. Because the Mexicans keep running off. They like, I ain't got time for this crazy stuff. And so, hold on, somebody said something. Listen, and let's be really honest. On this channel, we have white, black, Asian, whoever. I've had Asian clients on this channel. I think for a while, 90% of the channel's purchases came from white, and Asian, Hispanic. You are welcome here. This is for everybody. This channel is just, the information is based off the numbers. This is just, the majority population is white. So, by enough, is white. So, I'm going off the book Upside Demographics and the courses I've been in. So let's check out some of the stuff you guys are saying. But I just want you guys to see how all that ties in. How between the laws, the farmers, people being affected, being arrested, people going to jail. Like, this is a serious deal. Like, the push for this before the recession, as T. Hill mentioned, is serious. So let's see. Hello, Chris Love. Hey, Trent Davis. This is my palace. Chantel Davids, Daniel, Frankie, Millennial Mitch. Don't forget Texas. Yeah, Texas will remain conservative, but let's just do the math here, Frankie Robertson. 157 people moved to Austin a day, mostly from California and up north. 293 people moved to Dallas a day. And at one point, 500 were moving to Houston, but that number stopped during the hurricane. You're going to have areas of Texas turn blue that never turned blue before. And they're going to be like, what is happening? But because they're bringing money, it's going to change. I mean, right now you have parts of Texas that have Chinese coming in and buying up all the town. And they'll have they just did an article about it in Texas about how whole town had like 2,000 Chinese people there. And they were like, where do these Chinese people come from? And they just moved in and bought up everything in a dead town. And what I'm talking about, these dead towns, they bought up everything in the dead town, and they have family fly in and out. You know, it's interesting what's happening, and people aren't paying attention. Yeah, people will remain conservative till it happens to their kids. The best example is Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney was against lesbians and all kind of stuff, and their daughter was lesbian. So when it was like, when they couldn't hide that anymore, our daughter is lesbian. But she's a good daughter, and our other daughter serves in the military. And it's like, cool, Dick Cheney, nobody cares. We just want you to not care. You know what I mean? Yes, they have nuns selling weed. That is a true story. Millennial Mitch, the course, is dropping next week. Sharon Leon, hey Eric, I just ordered the Smartphone Millionaire. Can't wait to dive in the book. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Millennial Mitch, there you go. I see a campaign being run with NBA and NFL saying staying on smoke weed. Yeah, there's a lot of athletes who are injured and they're doing all these herbalistic stuff. They need this herbalistic stuff. Now weed is going to get in there. There's football players losing out whole years of their contract because of weed. Ricky Williams is going to open a cannabis company. Ricky Williams, y'all. And he's not in Colorado. He's in Florida. So what does that mean? He's a part of the lobbying. He lost his career to these stupid laws about weed. Okay? So anyway, Bonita. There are loads of pesticides on medical marijuana. Don't trust that either, especially from the government. But that's the funny part. You're going to have organic weed and government weed. Watch. You're going to have small farms. Like right now, what am I being marketed to most on Facebook? Organic farms. Grass-fed cows. Grass-fed bone broth. Chicken broth that's from grass-fed cows. Not these chemical overphone, cows and chickens. Now, why? Because this same family, when you go back and research the company, they're in California, and they're fighting all this regulation in California because their kids work on the farms, their family's been on the farms for hundreds of years, and they needed a marketing niche. So they went grass-fed, saves them money on pesticides, saves them money on antibiotics on the cows. They know people are looking for more organic things. So you're still going to have that even in medical marijuana. We come from this grow house. It's safe. It's organic. We don't spray all those government pesticides on our weed. You know what I mean? That's what's going to happen. Bishop Blueprint next week. Okay, let's see. What else we got in here? I am not from Texas, but I live in Austin, Texas. I am from the Carolinas, lived in Alaska, lived in Alabama for a little bit, lived in Maryland for a little bit. Military kid. Wow. Neighbor tried to tell him that using drugs was like a disease, just like cancer. In the 80s, using drugs was a choice. Wow, that's interesting. That's true. That's true. Sorry you got late in the video, just why I rewatched it earlier. That's funny. James Leak, yes, hemp was a big. Okay, why did hemp go away in America, you guys? Let's do it. Go all the way back. And I'm going to put this in the course. Why did hemp go away? Hemp was #1 product growing thing in America. That and cotton and tobacco. That was it. That was the 3. That was our crash crops. That was our big thing in America. You can Google and then research this for yourself. Hemp went away when that movie came out that was like hysterical, that black men. And the company did this. We're going to talk about which company did it. They wanted to sell paper from trees. And they said, how can we sell paper from trees? We've got to demonize the leader in the industry, right? It's like Pepsi talking bad about Coca-Cola. If Coca-Cola's #1, Pepsi's going to talk bad about Coca-Cola and how bad it is, and sugar's bad, whatever, right? This is the same thing happened with hemp. They put out the movie, oh God, lost it just like that. They put out the movie where they basically, black people go crazy and rape white women when they smoke weed. Right? So you had Mexicans, articles talking about Mexicans smoking weed and they attack white women. They had articles about Chinese men smoking weed and opium in the Californias, and they rape white women and they make them slaves. I mean, these things are legit, real things. They had black men in the South, because what people don't realize is black men after slavery, 1 in 3 men in the West, California, Wyoming, all these places were black. They were black men. They were cowboys. That's where the word cowboys come from. Because cowboy, you couldn't call a black man a man back then. Still was those racial things. So they were like, oh, the cowboys. Which it equated to help. Ranch help. Hand help. Whatever. And so they were still like, these guys are dangerous. They're out here on their own, rugged, carrying guns on their hips, wrangling cows, all that stuff. And they were saying these men were dangerous because they smoke weed and they would get dangerous. And so all of a sudden hemp became demonized because people in the general, because they couldn't kind of figure it out, what's the difference between hemp and weed, they were just like, get rid of all of it. Burn it all down to the ground, get rid of all of it, right? And so when they did that, that absolutely killed the hemp industry. And this is 1890 to 1920. And it absolutely just murdered. I mean, hemp had been our country's base for 100 years plus. But with that, it murdered it. Reefer madness, thank you for the comments. It absolutely murdered it. And so that industry completely went away. They didn't have the tools to fight back, because how can you, they're basically what happened to Blockbuster. Blockbuster saw Netflix and Redbox coming in and was like, whatever. And some of the early stuff of Netflix and Redbox was, why go to Blockbuster? Come on over here and do this. You know what I mean? Just grab your movie and go. And that's what happened to hemp versus paper. And the company that did that made a lot of money, and that's who makes our paper to this day. And that's why we have the tree issues we have now. So, yes, Frankie Robinson's correct. Hemp was used for building houses, natural resources. Yep, she's currently located in Detroit. Well, I'll be in Detroit second week of May. Yeah, I mean, go to Nevada. Fly there. Check it out. At least check it out. She said they're in Albany, New York, buying up everything. So right now, if you guys don't see, I've done several videos about Chinese buying up the United States, because I was a real estate agent, active agent, and pretty much in the Carolinas, they bought up the hog farms. They bought up all this stuff. And people say, well, who cares if they bought up all the hog farms in Smithfield, Ericka? That doesn't mean anything. It does, because in China, they eat lean hog. In America, we eat the fatty hog, where it's like big pot belly gross pigs. Not now. They won't do it right away. But I promise you, in the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to switch all these farms to lean hog. And they're going to just start selling you on lean hog products, lean hog, things that related to lean hog. And I promise you this. Everybody who's a farmer or anybody in the Carolinas knows this is true. They've been to China. They've been to Europe, over in Asia. And they don't eat the type of hog we eat. They don't eat the fatty hog. They eat lean hog. It's a type of hog. But I could go forever in that. But anyway, they bought up all the Carolinas. They spent $5.2 billion all over California, Oregon, Washington State, Vancouver. 80% of all the home buyers in Vancouver are Chinese. You know what I mean? So when I talk on this channel about what are Chinese doing, I want to do what they doing. If they buying up everything, I want to buy it up too. If they're in Detroit, we're right now in Todd Capital buying in auctions in Detroit, and the names you see are Chinese. In the sections buying are Chinese names. They're Indian names. They're Chinese names. They're coming, boo-boo. They're going to buy up everything. They're playing Monopoly while Americans are, I'm mad about Trump. You need to be mad about not owning something. So, let me go up here. Frankie Robinson, the thing about that is there's going to be jobs created from it. As far as security, as far as just various opportunities are going to be created. Legalizing marijuana that people don't even realize. I mean, if you see what's going on in Colorado, there's just this massive amount of people just doing security 24/7. There's security companies with, look at our new technique and our cameras and our this and our that. It's just going to create jobs you didn't even realize. I've also seen Chinese out in rural South Carolina. Yeah, they own a lot of the farms in South Carolina. So Malik, what's happening is, and of course we'll talk about it, there's 20 states fighting legislation right now to overturn this, and it's going to be crazy. Now, I'll tell you this from the perspective of being a military kid in Alaska. In Alaska, when we were there in the 90s, and the 2000s, what happened is the police didn't care. If you had under 10 joints or something, my parents would have to explain it better than I do. I'm not a weed smoker or whatever, but 10 joints in your car, you were allowed to go. They release you and you go on about your business. If they went over your house and you had a small number of plants, they let you go on about your business. They were not in the system of busting weed in Alaska because it just didn't. There's no point. They're more worried about the fact that there's so few officers, and actually the native population there would die because they'd fall asleep out in the snow, pass out places, and they're basically, their job in Alaska at that point was making sure men didn't go crazy and shoot people, and making sure Inuits didn't fall asleep all on the ground. I'm not even joking. So, my mom and dad told me stories of when they got stopped by the police and had weed in the car. Police were like, whatever. Saw it in the seat and was like, smelt it and was like, have a good day. Keep going, soldier. Have a good day. So, I mean, these things are, there's areas and towns and cities who are going to be more lenient and be ahead, and if they can vote on this, will vote on it immediately. Alaska has such a problem with its prisons, they send their prisoners to Arizona. To give you the kind of the perspective of what Alaska is doing. They have so many prisoners, and they only built like 5 prisons. They send them to Arizona. And actually, federal government is saying kind of that's a crime, because one, they can't see their families. And if you're an Inuit person, and they don't like being called Eskimo, because that's actually a racial slur. Sending me to Arizona so I can't see my family, and I'm in dying heat, compared to being in Alaska for years and years of my life, is cruel and unusual. So, to give y'all a sample of that. Yes, that's right, Byron. It was Cotton was also fighting with them too. Cotton was like, yeah, that's right, paper's better. Cotton was like, them bums. Now, if you don't know this about Cotton, in our American system, slavery was becoming so expensive as we were kind of turning the corner in history. In 1840s, they were kind of like, what the hell are we gonna do with these slaves? Well, first they wanted to send them out west, and this is before the Civil War. They want to send them out west where the Indians, thinking, good luck, they'll be out there with the Indians, or we can just ship them all back, which was stupid because they realized they couldn't do that. There's no way to ship them all back, right? And then all of a sudden Cotton became king, and then they were like, no, we need slavery. We need every single slave we can have. And if you read anything about the Civil War, and I'm from a Southern perspective, we became such an economic powerhouse in the South that we kind of told the North to F off, and we could just sell our stuff to Europe. And honestly, we could have, but we would have had to keep slavery to make it economically viable. So just the kind of context of how powerful cotton was, and how powerful paper was, and how powerful hemp used to be, that hemp had to be hammered down in order for people to be acceptable to like cotton and paper to be the dominant in our country. Pork cutlet bowls, possibly. High on the hog, that's kind of funny. Oh, yes, he just said, Malik said he did a service call for AC at a grow house in Denver. There's some serious operations. There is. I mean, I know 2 kids who were in Texas, and basically they got run out of their grow house. And I'm not to say this in a nice way. It wasn't gangs. It was just a guy offered them several thousands of dollars to leave. And they were kind of like, well, get the hell out of here. And he was like, either you take this money or we're going to assault you. And these boys are from Texas, and I think they just were absolutely scared because it was a Mexican and a Hispanic man who came, and $50,000 is $50,000, and not being afraid for your life. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to be careful about his story. He's in Austin, but yeah, he just was like, yeah, I'm gonna get on out of California. I got out of Colorado, but he just said that he wished he could go back and do it a different way. That's all. So again, if you want to do grow houses, you need to have security. You need to have straight up security. You need to have security cameras. You need to have thousands of dollars invested in security. People think this is a joke. Again, the marijuana companies in Denver hire military people to guard the perimeters of their farms and pay them well in cash. Just saying. Take a lesson there. Take a lesson there. Compass North, okay. I'm going to just agree with you. I mean, if you want, Compass North says Trump comes across as a nutcase, but he's doing what should have been done 10 years ago. Building the wall, evicting illegal immigrants, etc. Tough on trade. No one had the balls to do what he's doing. Now, I will say this, Compass North. And if you've watched any of my videos, you may not. You may be brand new. Western Union, to give you an example how many people are actually here illegally. Western Union has unique, now I'm not going to say it, it means unique person. It means this person is not duplicate in the system. $30 million, 30 million unique people sending money every week south of the border. Doesn't just mean Mexico, it means El Salvador, means everywhere. So that means you have 30 million people, unique individuals, coming in, filling out the paper to send money home. Why do you think Mexico stopped sending so many people up here? Because Jesus and whoever, let's just say 1 million. 1 million of those people send $100 home every week. That's $100 million going home every week to Mexico. Going home every week to El Salvador. Going home to these places. That is the dream of some of these people. I worked at Jason's Deli, and all 12 women on the line were illegal. Every single one of them owned a house back home. One of the women, because they knew that people were raping at the border as you try to go up the border, left her children with her parents because she didn't want them to be assaulted. This is horrible. And she sends home $500. Her and her new husband, which her husband at home don't know, her new husband sent home every week. The grandparents send pictures. They bought a house. They have 2 cars. They bought a second house. This can be your house when you're ready to come home. Now, why do they say when you're ready to come home? Because they just assume Trump's there. He's going to get deported. So they bought her a house with her money that she sent home. Let me tell you that again. They have one house. They bought her a house with the money she sends home. And these ladies work at Jason's Deli making $11 an hour. This is when I worked there. And they've been there for years. Years. It's a money thing. I've made a comment. There's 70,000 Haitians at the border trying to get in. Because Obama said they could come in, and when all of a sudden 100,000 showed up, Obama was like, nah, we changed our mind. Lock that border down. And that's the one thing people love about Obama on that part of immigration. But if you had 100,000 Haitians here sending $100 a week home, Haiti, because literally they make 40 cents an hour, Haiti would look like Miami in 3 years. This is a money thing. This is a money thing. So people are like, get these illegals out of here. And I want to agree with you. If they're dangerous, go find the dangerous ones. Let's start with the thugs and the criminals first. You know, Jose that's over here with his family and he's like working 20 years straight and buying stuff. I don't care about him. I should, but I don't care about him. I care about this guy, Victor, and his friends who are raping and murdering and assaulting. I want those motherfuckers out of my country. And this is another reason marijuana is going to be passed here. Because how do you slow the flow of money down to Mexico? How do you kill the power of the cartels? Medical marijuana. Just telling you guys. Mike B 28 Compass North agreed. Trump is both a blessing and a curse when you look at him that way. I will say this. Trump is waking up a lot of Americans of all races who need to, 1, invest, 2, own stuff in their country, and 3, realize your personal safety is your responsibility. Which hence the reason I bought a gun and I walked through the whole process and I put it on one of my Instagram pages where I shoot guns. But Canada is I don't know what y'all got going on there. Y'all gotta have to do something about a lot of the Somalians and different people y'all got coming over there. I know I had a friend in college, her father who, her real life father, she had been adopted by a family down here in America, was Somalian and he was Muslim. Well, she said, come up here to Canada. That girl left college, changed her faith, quit speaking to her adopted parents, and married a Muslim man from Somalia in Canada and never left Canada. And we all are on her Facebook page like, girl, what happened to you? And she has her own little insulated community in Canada of Somalians. And it's just, Canada's got some issues. It's got some real stuff. Byron the Prize, it's going to be in the course. I'm going to talk about the 20 different states that have medical marijuana in the process, what companies to look out for, what companies to invest with, because some of these companies are being dumped in penny stock areas, and people are like, oh, Ericka, those are penny stocks. And I'm going to show you some of the research on the actual offices so you can see what the office looks like and see that this is a legit place. And prime example, a guy here in Fayetteville, North Carolina who has a lot of money and he invested $1,000, was it $1,000 or 500? $500 into a 70-cent stock, and it went up $1 and some change, and he made a ton of money. But he hasn't sold it. Why? Because he knows this company is legit, and the company actually is getting traction in Colorado. So dang, Mike B said Denver is a mess with all the weed heads. I was there last year and I would see people standing outside at the dispensaries just looking up at the sky. They were high as a kite. Now, what I said in the first part of the video, Mike, I don't know if you heard the first part of the video, Trump is looking for a solution. Now, he doesn't look for a solution to, like, we got to get people off pills and drugs. Transitioning people off heroin into medical marijuana, because some of these people are going to be addicts regardless, is like a win, because it's going to be all this money in the economy. They're not going to jail. They're not breaking into stuff. They're not stealing anything. They got their medical marijuana card in their house, sitting their ass down. This is what you'll see. This is what you'll see. You know, here's the funny thing. A lot of companies are going to, if you get the pass of medical marijuana, they're going to have to let, like, let's say, we're going to name her Betty. Betty's been working for the company 20 years. Now, Betty gets a medical marijuana card, and Betty is hot piss test. Well, you can't fire Betty. Betty has a medical marijuana card. Unless you're in a right-to-work state like Texas and South Carolina and North Carolina, Betty's going to be at work. Because if you fire, and Georgia's a right-to-work state. Fire Betty, Betty can sue you. Malik, yes, you will. From what I was hearing from the two guys in Texas, it wasn't uncommon to see one or two extra guys sitting around a house, and they were security. Now, I'm not going to say everybody's going to have security, but a grow house that's got like a garage, 3 garages, she had 1, 2, 3 panels. I'm going to see if I can pull the picture up and put it in the course. Thank you for saying that. And show you from her Facebook page. And she was just in such shock. She was like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. They might come back and shoot me. And I'm like, it's your house. You legally own it. And they wanted to pay her cash for the house. And that's the only reason she came down to Colorado, because she was like, who has cash to pay me for this house? Because this is not a cheap house. If you know anything about Denver, the prices have not only doubled, but almost tripled. So the house she would have sold would have been $700,000. And she was like, who the hell has cash? So she went to go check in her house. She thought something was wrong. They tore it up, had a hole in the walls. The landlord was like, they paid up for the year. So, I mean, it's a big industry. You're going to need security. Right. Good info, Compass North. Okay, good to know. Malik said Denver is one of the states that don't count it. So, again, the reason why I'm talking about farming the way I am is because right now, a lot of the migrants are leaving. I was actually in Alabama when they passed a law about immigrants overnight, and Alabama was going to enforce it and put people in jail. There was an apartment complex that had 500 units. It was a ghost town. There was police tape around it because the police were so shocked that it was emptied out overnight. Emptied. Nothing but broke down cars left, like 4 or 5. A 500 unit apartment was gone. And they called it Little Mexico because it was beside a store, a grocery store, and a Polo Local. I don't know if you guys are not from Texas. Polo Local is a very popular chain of chicken and pastries, right? It's a franchise in America, specialized to talking to Mexicans. That's it. And his people who speak Spanish. And it's going to be a big, huge franchise in the next couple of years. You'll see this. And overnight, those grocery stores were struggling. And the food chains in the plaza was in Spanish. You can go to this part in Hoover, Alabama. There were plazas in full Spanish. Full Spanish. And overnight, those people jumped up and left. Now, why is this important? Talking again about the people trying to grow hemp. They're going to have to get local workers. Right now, HEB in Texas is all about finding local farmers to source its local vegetables and its local fruits and stuff. And you're like, why are they doing that? Because in California, Florida, and these places, fruit is dropping to the ground and rotten because there's nobody there to pick it. Because they're running because they're scared of this. In Austin, Texas, prime example, when they are... Our person in town said they were going to go start rounding up illegals, which was hilarious to me in Austin, of all places, where there's so many illegal children, illegal people. Overnight, there was empty apartments, empty places. KB Homes had an 8-month backlog on you building your home because they were short on workers. And guess where those people went? They went to Houston because they can hide. Houston's so big, they can just hide in the edges of Houston or wherever. And then Houston had Hurricane Harvey come. So now you have all these workers in Hurricane Harvey territory, and they're not coming back to Austin. So again, these things all play into a recession coming. When you don't have people to pick the fruit's going to go up in hyperinflation style. When you don't have access to farms, a lot of these farmers, they can't just switch on a drop of a dime. That's why I say they are planning this. This is a planned move away from corn into hemp. This is a planned move, dude. I'm telling you that I've spent too much money in these courses and in these live groups and these masterminds trying to see, okay, this is the group we're going to invest in. This is a company we're going to invest in. And them only wanting accredited investors and stuff and just different things. I was like, holy crap, they're really pushing this. So no, that's the crazy. What's funny is I had a friend here in Austin, Texas, who he was driving, dropping off beer, and the guy lit up while they were driving. Like they were at unloading at a particular bar, and the guy's just smoking weed in the truck. He's like, "Are you kidding me? You're trying to lose your job?" And the guy had lost his job before like that. Didn't even care. Personal safety. What did I say about me buying a gun and getting training? I did all of it because I made sure to say, okay, everybody's like, oh, we need harsher laws. And I said, whenever I hear that, I'm going to go out and buy another gun and more ammo, because I know what's happening in a recession. You're going to have people who are doing more. Right now, if you look at all crime stats, and this is also why medical marijuana is going to become a thing, murder is down. Home break-ins, assaults are up. Again, let me say that. Murder is down. Less people are murdering each other. Assaults and home break-ins are up. Why? Because you got people who do Amazon FBA from their house. You got people who do all kind of stuff from their home. They have home businesses. People see stuff going in and out of houses. Again, Denver. People growing weed in their homes. You're going to need personal safety. You are your best first response. Point blank, period. It takes the average policeman to get there 12 minutes. The average incident happens in 3 minutes. Rapes, assaults, 3 minutes. Shootouts, 3 minutes. Police get there 12 minutes. They are there too late. They're there too late. So that's that comment on that. The course is next week. Let's see what else we got here. Sorry. Thank you, Compass North. Giant Lifestyle. Dispensaries popping up everywhere in New Jersey. New Jersey is one of the 20 states I'm talking about on the course. Boom. There you go. Seeing migrant workers are good for business. They move around, they put money in the economy, and they keep it moving. Chris McDonald, thank you. Lots of illegals hiding here in Houston. The truth. And what people don't know about Houston, pay attention. Google this for yourselves. What happened in Houston? They started arresting Chinese and Korean men and locking them up and deporting them. That's when you had the Houston representative, who is an Asian man, cry in the Texas government capitol, how dare y'all pull these hardworking men out of these homes and arrest them. Now, he didn't care when it was Mexicans. He didn't care when it was Africans. He didn't care when it was Haitians. But he cared when it was Asians. Okay? Don't get it twisted. Houston has all kind of people. Houston is a melting pot of a city. Houston has a lot of African women somehow sneaking these men over in this country and marrying them. So you'll meet African families where the dad don't speak no English, but he can drive a truck. He's a semi-driver and don't speak no English. I've seen it. Houston it's got a lot going on in Houston. Thank you. Cosign. Chicago and Wisconsin. Titanfall. Can we get? Yes, we can. Oh, I see what you're saying about Monsanto weed. Yeah, there's going to be, just like you see with organic beef, what I just did the example earlier, you're going to have organic weed. Come to my weed farm. Don't go to that weed farm. Chris McDonald, I hate when weed heads and dummies want to legalize marijuana. Chris McDonald, I'm not a weed head, and I'm not a dummy. What I know is I've spent money, lots of money, in several masterminds and courses where people are, this is a legal shift, Chris McDonald. This is going to happen. Trump needs a win. We have to kind of, you have Jeff Sessions cracking down on drug users, drug dealers. Who's being affected? I'm probably going to get on out of here. Who is being affected by these drug laws? Who? The majority of Americans now. You have a 50% decrease in black women going to jail. A 50% increase of white women going to jail. White women going to jail. Listen to this. White women going to jail. 50% increase. Drugs, pills, heroin, crimes related to that. Prostitution, breaking into homes. It's affecting them. It's affecting the bulk of the okay. Secondly, you have 20 different states pushing for medical marijuana, pushing because they know it's an issue. In those 20 states, they're in the Midwest. Why are they in the Midwest? Because people are against corn. They're against corn. They don't want corn sugar. They don't want all these artificial things. That they need a cash crop to help those regions where they're losing industry. They're losing industrial things. Hemp. Because now you need security. You're going to need local people, not migrants. Okay? Number 4. I mean, oh, good Lord, I got a bunch, but they're going to be in the course. Essentially, Trump needs this win. We need the money. And what's going to happen also is the fact is the recession, the pressing recession, pressing number. We need the numbers in order to fight the drug wars below the border, in order to stop getting the money coming in, money leaving the country, going to South America, selling weed in the country. The money that Denver has made, the millions and billions of dollars Denver has made. This is what this is about. But you guys can all rewatch this video later. I don't have to go through all of them. But I'm just going to... Chris McDonald, I don't think it'll get legalized in Texas. Let's be really honest. Texas don't play. You know, when they say 5 to 10, Texas says 10 to 15, and you better like it. You know what I mean? Louisiana's worse. Louisiana is the most corrupt state in our union. We ought to just burn it off the map. I mean, Louisiana is corrupt as corrupt be. It's very dangerous. It is very dangerous. They just had a guy arrested because he told the police officer cussed at him, and he said, "Whoa, dude, I'm going to call your superior." Guy walks to his house, the police officer arrests him and says, "You threatened the public safety," and threw the guy in jail. I mean, Louisiana's very corrupt. They're the one place that doesn't need weed. You know what, Compass North, that's the one place we're gonna have to disagree. You're a Canadian. I lived in Alaska. You need guns. Period. You just do. So there you go, CN. Okay. That's right. Yes, Bishop Blueprint. Chris McDonald, my barber is black Colombian and can barely speak English. If you guys watch this channel, you know I talked about the black, which I thought they were black, Uber drivers in Austin, Texas. They were not black. They were from Cuba. They were all from Cuba, and they had come because Obama had opened up the door through this program, and when they would come, they'd bring 11 family members. Like 10 and 11 family members. One grandfather brought all his grandchildren, all 16. And as the parents were getting ready to come out of Cuba, it changed, the law changed, and their parents are left behind. So all these guys, and I said, well, how are y'all all driving cars for Uber? One dealership guy, a Cuban who's been in America for years, hooked them all up. But you know what I'm saying? That's just a whole nother story in itself. Seeing it'll be in the course I'm releasing next week. We're going to talk all about marijuana stocks. We're going to what to invest in, how to get in some of these companies, how to get in the underbelly and invest in startups, what companies you're gonna see in the future as far as oils and different things. And Byron Prize, thank you. Grow your own. All right. So anyway, you guys, thank you for watching. I will definitely have the course out next week, but again, you guys have to pay attention. It's 4:20 and everybody's missing the big news. I've been watching CNBC all day as they have been pushing the new stuff that is coming. Again, if you want to talk to me, the courses are always below. The links are always below. If you want to invest in tax liens for your future, do it, baby. Get your 18 to 25%. Byron the Prize, yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. But again, you guys, listen, it all feeds into that whole mantra, smartphone millionaire. How are people making money? By investing. The banks cannot invest in weed right now. And that is the deal. So again, everybody, thank you for watching the channel. We've been right at an hour. It's a little long. I try to keep these shorter. If you want to talk to me, links are always below. Hey, if you guys want to, you can always super chat this channel. I appreciate it when you do. If not, you can always PayPal me and connect. You guys have a great day.